guys! Welcome back to StarrSoaps channel. How are you today? I'm doing good. StarrSoaps is here in the Taranaki and my name's Crystal Starr. I'm the Star Soaper, in case you didn't know me. And today I'm going to be making some donut bath bombs. That's right, we're going to make some foaming, fizzing bath bombs in the shape of donuts. So come along with me and I'll show you how to make them. Squee! So, first things first, we have to sieve our powders for our bath bomb mix, all of our dry ingredients, and sieving them helps to stop any clumps from forming so that we can make sure that our fragrance and our moisturizing oils and our colorants, if we're using them, are very well dispersed. Our powders here are baking soda, citric acid, a little bit of kaolin clay, and some SLSA, and we've also got a little tiny touch of colloidal oatmeal because that makes for a lovely nourishing bath. I'm going to be doing lavender donut bath bombs today. I'm just sieving my citric acid now. I tend to add all of my dry ingredients together, including my citric acid, at the beginning, just because that's how I've always done it and it's always worked out well for me. But a lot of people recommend that you leave the citric acid and you don't add it till last, because baking soda and citric acid together, they create the reaction that we want to happen in the bath. So we don't want to set that reaction off too soon. Now I'm adding some lovely oils. The first oil was my calendula infused oil. That's why it looks golden yellow. And then a few pumps of my polysorbate 60, which is an emulsifier, and that's going to help that beautiful calendula oil to be infused throughout your bath, not just sitting on the top in little pools, because we don't want that. So I'm now bringing my little mini mixer thing through here, and I got this at the op shop, so I don't actually know what the name of it is, but it's such a handy tool. It really does help to break up clumps. I can also just use the back of my spoon to break up clumps. And now I'm going to take some and put it into this jug with my purple lake dye. And this is a beautiful colour. It really colours the water very well, and I really like it. It's super vibrant. And it really does represent lavender, purple for lavender. So I have not finished mixing up my mix yet, but I really want to make sure that I get the powdery part of it all mixed together before I go ahead and start adding all of my liquids and trying to reach the damp sand consistency. So I wanted to have time to be able to stir that purple colorant through. We don't want any of it sitting on the bottom of the jug. We want to make sure it's all well incorporated. And I want to make sure that the scent is also very well mixed through. We don't want to have clumps of scent. We want it to be really well mixed all through all the powders. So if you have a really good electric mixer or a stand mixer, you can actually introduce that at this stage and save yourself a bit of a workout. For me, I'm doing it all by hand, so it is a little bit of hard work, but it's totally worth it in the end. I'm adding a little bit more of my lavender essential oil now. I'm using lavender 4042, and I got it from Pure Nature, which is a supplier here in New Zealand. I'm now adding some sunflower oil. It's actually a blend in there of sunflower and sweet almond in that jug, and those lovely light oils are perfect for this bath bomb. We don't want anything too heavy, but we do really want to add that lovely nourishing oil so that that bath water becomes lovely and soft and less likely to dry our skin out while we soak away in the bath. So I'm feeling pretty confident with that purple jug now. It's looking like it has reached the right consistency. Now I'm going to move on to my white mix, my uncoloured mix, and I'm just going to mix and mix and mix that. I'm going to bring that little mini mixer in again and add a little bit more oil as I feel I need to. This is definitely something that is done by feel. I can't really tell you exactly how much to add. Some people's climates can affect it, and bath bombs can be a little bit temperamental like that. But for me, I just add it until it feels right. So this is something that I have, a skill that I have acquired over time and practice. But I think you can sort of see it when you press it into the spoon and it keeps that shape of the spoon and it doesn't just fall away. So really keeping in mind that sort of damp sand consistency, the type of sand that you hunted out when you were a kid because you knew it made the best sandcastles. So you weren't right down next to the water, but you also weren't right up at the driest part of the sand. So if you can sort of cast your mind back to your childhood, if you were blessed enough to be by the sea, which I definitely was, thanks Mum and Dad, and you remember exactly that right consistency, because that's what we're going for. It's that sort of damp sand consistency. So I feel pretty confident with that now. I give it a quick few spritzes with my witch hazel, which is a very tricky thing to do. I sort of spritz and mix at the same time. The witch hazel wants to activate the mix like we talked about earlier. So as I spray it, it tends to want to foam up, and I have to be mixing it back down so that it's actually getting mixed all through the mix. I do really like it though for final hardness, for the hardness in the final bath bomb. So I will always use that witch hazel, but I don't use much, probably 8 or 16 sprays out of my spray bottle. So that's not very much at all. So first of all, I go ahead and I measure out about 30 grams of my purple mix into the bottom of my mould here. And it's a really neat little mould, but I just use a mallet to press it rather than pushing down with my hands. And I give it a few good whacks with the mallet, and then I use my little tool here to release it, and it pushes it all up. It's quite heavy because it's all made of steel, so I have to hold it very carefully and then carefully remove the base. And then I'll actually unmold it off camera. I'm sorry, I'm doing that just next to where I'm working here on some bubble wrap. It's actually a big fat bubble wrap. It's not little fine bubble wrap like you normally get. It's these big round wide pieces of bubble. You'll see that bubble wrap at the end of the video when I show you a little demonstration of how these bath bombs work. But it's very tricky. I have to hold it over the bubble wrap and tap the back of it with the spoon until it releases, and hope that it doesn't break as it gently lands on the bubble wrap. It is very, very temperamental work, but I do love it, I must admit. And you start to feel like a genius once you master it, which is definitely where I feel like I'm at now. And these donut shapes can be especially difficult. They don't want to hold their shape. They try to fall apart. So I've had to tip a couple back into the jug and mix them up and redo them, and that's cool. It's definitely a test of your patience though. One day I would absolutely love to get myself an electric press and not have to do this by hand, but for now this method works for me. So each bath bomb ends up weighing roughly 130 grams, I do believe. So I put about a 30 gram amount in of the purple, then I add the white until I reach about 125, 130 grams, as you can see there. And that seems to be the perfect amount so that I don't get too much of what they call a satin ring, which is that line around the outside of your bath bomb that you can get, that's made by the excess mix, which of course you need. In order to make these, you have to overfill because you need that extra mix to press down. It's hard to explain. If you make bath bombs, I'm sure you understand. So here we have my finished set of bath bombs from that mix, and I got 6 donuts and 1 round bomb. The round bomb weighs about 160 or 170 grams, and as we just talked about, the donuts weigh about 130 grams. I played around with different methods, as you can see here, pushing down the mix to try to make that look of the frosting, but I didn't like how it looked, so I ended up just going with a purple top and a white bottom. I ended up really liking how that looked, and as you can see I got one that was all purple and one that was basically all white as well, because the mix just sort of fell apart a couple of times and I had to reform. I even had some mix left over, so I pushed that into my little mooncake mold and made a tiny 50 gram extra one for myself. And then of course I went ahead and frosted them with some cocoa butter and shea butter. And this was quite tricky. It was hard to get the cocoa butter and shea butter at just the right temperature for it to spoon carefully on the donuts, but not soak in and not run off and not be too hard. So it was a little bit frustrating, but I really loved the final look, so definitely worth the effort. I added a bit of gold sparkling mica to that as well, and here they look after they've been wrapped up and in their lovely little organza bags. And I just add a little business card. It's a dual-sided card, one side with my business information and one side with the information about the product that you received. So it's demo time. I love doing this because I don't often include demos of my products in my videos. So this is really neat to be able to do this. As you can see, this is one that had broken and I had to scoop it onto a separate jug, mix it all together so it became basically one uniform colour with some specks of white. And then I thought, right, I guess I just have to have that one for me. So it floats. That is a really good sign, but it is definitely more of a foamer than a fizzer, as you can see. And because of that, it takes a very, very long time to dissolve completely. This can be good, but it can also be annoying if you just want it to hurry up and dissolve and you can jump in your bath. I just hopped in with it. I wasn't bothered. But I really love the scent and I love the feeling that it leaves throughout the bath. It definitely makes for a decadent bathing experience. And I mean, look at all that. You could absolutely put that to one side, dry it out and use it again if you were that frugal. There's so much there. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to put it all in. Well guys, I do hope that you enjoyed watching me make these donut bath bombs as much as I enjoyed making them, and I was blessed enough to have a large order of them, a dozen, so I made her a baker's dozen. So I'll include some pictures of that batch next. I didn't film the making of that one, but I did include some photographs for you all to see. I do hope that you have hit that subscribe button. I mean, come on, have you been living under a rock? And join up with our beautiful StarrSoaps family and feel the soapy love. Alright guys, remember to pamper yourselves and have that me time. And I'll see you all next time. Okay, bye now.